And we're rolling in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Jake's got a sports show. You turning into that sports show. Let me tell you fellas something. You ladies something. Anybody in between, non-binary, whatever, completely valid, completely supportive. I'm in a little bit of a rush right now. Trying to put this out, trying to do the college football predictions. I'm sorry, this is again kind of a rush. I'm having some very consistent and very annoying plumbing issues, and I'm expecting a call from a plumber at any time right now, so I have to get this episode out. A couple of apologies I have to talk about. Yesterday, you didn't get a video with the audio podcast, in which nobody really watches the video, but I still feel bad about it because I uploaded it and then I tried to get the promo clip, and the audio was completely messed up. I think it was because I was far away from the mic. I hope it doesn't mess up again. Should have probably tested it before I started recording, but if it does mess up again, I'm going to work all weekend to find a way to not mess it up in the future. I am learning more and more audio editing. I say that. I'm trying. I'm not going to get too vulnerable, too wishy-washy right now. I'm trying, and I'm stressed out, and I just want to talk some sports. I just want to forget about it all right now, and I just want to talk some sports. So let's talk some sports. I was saying that I know that the microphone was peaking tremendously right there with the sibilance. I learned that word in audio editing. How was Thanksgiving? So get some good eats, some good vibes. You're on the road trucking. Hey, you're doing the Lord's work, brother, sister, anybody in between. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all working, keeping this country going. Not just truckers, anybody working on Thanksgiving. If you had to work on Thanksgiving, I appreciate you for keeping things going smooth. My lady, concierge at a hotel in Nashville, she had to work yesterday, and so many of the residents were coming, bringing her down pies and plates of food and drinks and whatever. Dude, she is so little gush about my wife for a second. She's so magnetic. Like her energy is so magnetic and it's so phenomenal and it's such the opposite of me. If you see me, I'm probably just not talking. I'm very RBF. Those who know RBF. Not really approachable. I have friends, people I talk to that I've managed to get to like me, but in terms of her, I'm nowhere close to her level. And like I said, it's the complete opposite of me. If you talk to me, like me and her like Waffle House, obviously. Me, We like Waffle House. We like going to Waffle House. And sometimes that Waffle House trip is is at like 2 a.m, especially when she would work overnight, get off at 4 a.m, little hungry. We'll stop at the Waffle House. And the people there will just start talking to her. And in my head, if they start talking to me, I'm not going to be rude. I'm not a rude person. I'll nod, smile, whatever, go like, oh, that's crazy. Do that kind of thing. But in my head, I'm like, bro, no one cares. No one cares. Stop talking to me. I don't want to hear about your pet. I don't want to hear about your vacation in Virginia. I don't care, brother. Don't care. Stop talking to me. My lady will sit there and she'll have a very fun conversation. Complete opposite of me. And that's why I love her. Aww. Get into some sports. House cleaning will be at the end if you hear me. Yeah, house cleaning will be at the end. You gotta say though, like, rate, and share the show wherever you can. Really, really, really helps out. I promise I'm getting the audio quality better. I'm learning about Audacity more, which is what I record the podcast in. We're moving up and gonna announce something at the end of the month, looking to announce something at the end of the month or the beginning of January that I'm very excited about. So let's get right into the podcast. Make sure to like, share, and rate, and the rest of the house cleaning will be at the end. So let's talk about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving football, the first game that came on, the Packers beat the Lions, and the score is like 26-22 or 29-22. And it was a lot less close than that. The Packers controlled this game. The Packers were getting to Jared Goff. The Lions could not hold on to the ball to save their life. Everybody was excited. I was hyped up to see the Lions finally win a Thanksgiving game for what feels like the first time in my life. I know it's been since 2016, and obviously I've been around a little bit longer than 2016. It feels like the Lions have never won a Thanksgiving in my life. So I was like, hey, Detroit, in Detroit, Thanksgiving is very historic. A Thanksgiving football game is a very historic thing in Detroit's history. So get a win on Thanksgiving, on your trip to being Super Bowl contenders, and they fell flat. The Detroit Lions fell so flat, and I couldn't be more disappointed. And it's not like the Packers have some scary defensive line. They're fine. I like Rashawn Gary. They're fine. But that level of pressure on Jared Goff, what happened? Jared Goff lost what, 3 fumbles? Lions couldn't hold on the ball. Lions couldn't do anything on offense until like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They scored, and then they kicked an onside to make it a little interesting. Outside of that, the Packers had complete control of this game. And of course, when I start publicly stating my somewhat fandom for the Lions, they do this. When I state that the Lions are the team I trust the most in the NFC, they do this. It's aggravating. Am I a jinx? Is that what I am? I gotta stop making so many S sounds because I know what it sounds like, and it's aggravating me. I'm just trying to talk port. I'm trying to avoid it now. The next game was the Cowboys Commanders, and it pretty much went exactly as we thought it would. I said that it could be interesting. Commanders played their division opponents well, and it was sort of interesting in the first half, but in the second half, the Commanders did nothing, and the Cowboys took off. Shout out, I believe his name is Deron Bland. I know his last name's Bland, that corner who is having a little breakout season, broke the record for pick sixes one season, got 5. Good for him. And the Cowboys are an interesting team to follow. The Cowboys have always been one of the teams I hated the most because on one hand, my grandfather on my mom's side is a Commanders fan. He'll say the other name, but a Commanders fan, a football team fan. So I didn't like the Cowboys then. My grandfather never liked the Cowboys because he was a Dolphins fan back, way back when, before he moved to Tennessee. And the Cowboys love to beat up on the Dolphins, especially in the Super Bowl. I believe the Cowboys beat the snot out of the Dolphins in the Super Bowl. So I grew up hating the Cowboys, but right now I think the Cowboys are very fun. I really like Dak Prescott. CeeDee Lamb is having a tremendous season. Tony Pollard, shout out University of Memphis. And their defense is fast. Their defense is fast. They get after the quarterback. They play phenomenal coverage. Stephon Gilmore, Deron Bland, Trayvon Diggs when healthy. Of course, he's not going to be back this season. But as someone pointed out, I think it was Brent Coleman, Trayvon Diggs might be the third best corner on that team, and that's not a shot at Trayvon Diggs. Because you put Trayvon Diggs on like the Titans, he's the best corner head and shoulders above everybody else. But on the Cowboys, with Stephon Gilmore, Deron Bland, he's maybe the third best corner on that team. The Cowboys are a very good team. And the criticism they're facing is, well, they're beating up on teams with not great records, not great teams. The Commanders, the Giants, the Panthers, the Jets, like a lot of teams that they have beat the absolute snot out of have been bad teams. And here's what I got to say to that. You can't look at the schedule at face value and just say, oh, the Cowboys have been facing bad opponents, so that means they're not that great of a team. Look at the scores. They are beating these teams by 20, 30 points. The Cowboys are beating their opponents by college level scores. You know what I'm saying? College level spreads, I should say. It's not like the Cowboys are beating these teams by like 10, 15 points, looking pretty dominant. No, they are wiping the floor with these teams. And let me remind you, they were 2 plays away from beating Philadelphia in Philadelphia. I have to remind everybody of that. The Cowboys were so close to beating Philadelphia in Philadelphia. This Cowboys team is a very good team, y'all. I know we don't want to believe it because the Cowboys are the most loved yet the most hated franchise on the face of this planet in terms of football. Probably in terms, on the face of this planet, period. They have the biggest fan base out of any NFL team, and they also have the biggest hater base in the entire NFL. It's a good team. It is a very good team, and they're a fun team to watch. And this statement win over the Commanders, I know it was at home. It was on Thanksgiving, and the Cowboys are pretty good on Thanksgiving. I know, but don't look at the records of the teams they're beating. Look at how they are beating them. And the last game was the Seahawks and the 49ers. I said it could be interesting, but I didn't think Gino was 100% healthy. And it was close. No, it wasn't. It was like 24-3 at half. And then the Seahawks kicked a field goal. No, the Seahawks stalled out on their first drive, kicked it off to the 49ers, and Jordan Brooks got a pick six. And then the Seahawks kicked a field goal, and that was it. That was their points, and the 49ers just kind of took off with it. This 49ers team is officially back. They're on a 3-game win streak now, and the past 2 games, you could say, everybody's saying the 49ers are back. They beat the Jaguars 34-3, and you're like, the Jaguars are kind of like a phony 6-3 team. They're not really that great. They're very on and off. And then they faced the Buccaneers last week, and you're like, it's the Buccaneers. I mean, and you didn't really beat them by that much. It's whatever. But this is a division rival, their best division rival, mind you, in Seattle, one of the hardest places to play. Top 3, probably top 2, right behind Arrowhead. Hardest places to play in the NFL on Thanksgiving night. So everybody's hyped up, and they wiped the floor with them. It was ugly. It was horrendous for the Seattle Seahawks. Shouldn't say that. For the Seahawks. I shouldn't say that because of the syllabants. When I learn a big word, I like to say it a lot. But phenomenal win for the 49ers, showing that they are back. The 49ers are healthy. They're coming. Those 49ers, they're coming. And we're all about to feel it. All of us. They got the Eagles in a couple weeks. That's going to be an exciting game, and a game that I'm kind of hyped up for because y'all know, if you've been keeping up with my TikToks, if you've been keeping up with the podcast, I'm not high on the Eagles at all. I don't think they're good enough to be 9-1. So we'll see what happens then. That's it for Thanksgiving. Let me know what y'all thought of the Thanksgiving games. We got the Dolphins and the Jets tonight. I'm going to watch it, but I know the Dolphins are most likely going to wipe the floor with the Jets because they're starting Tim Boyle at quarterback. And if Tim Boyle goes down, they're starting Trevor Siemian. So we'll see what happens. Let's get into college football. College football weekend. A couple interesting games. Of course, probably 2 games that are going to be really, really fun. Another game that's going to be okay. Another game that has potential to be okay. And another game I'm going to talk about because it's a Tennessee matchup. Games that I'm not going to talk about that I think could be interesting, but I don't really care enough to really look into it. Wisconsin and Minnesota could be very interesting. 2 bad teams, but it could be a fun matchup, fun Big Ten matchup. Clemson, South Carolina could be really fun. Clemson, I believe, is ranked again now. South Carolina, it's just kind of like a fun little scrappy team. I believe, who's North Carolina playing? North Carolina is playing an interesting matchup that I forgot to white wow. Or maybe it's Clemson, North Carolina. Brother, I'm going to look at that right now because I believe I wrote South Carolina and I meant to write North Carolina. And I'm going to be so very upset if that's the case. My computer takes a little bit to load out. So, UNC football. Eat button. Stop pressing the I, my boy. UNC football. I'm gonna be so upset. Come on, come on. Okay, no. North Carolina's playing North Carolina State, so it is South Carolina. That's going to be an ugly. Hopefully, it's an ugly game. You never know with North Carolina. North Carolina was a great team, then they lost and just lost every bit of confidence they gathered throughout the season. Some of the games that are interesting that I didn't really care to look into. I know my dogs are barking. Please don't be mad. Kentucky Louisville could be interesting. You know, inside Kentucky. Kentucky's a pretty good football team. Louisville is a very good football team. A&M LSU could be pretty fun. See what not Jordan Travis, Jane Daniels can do against the Texas A&M team. Texas A&M is a pretty good SEC team. Likes to compete with SEC teams. And then Washington State and Washington could be interesting. Little Cam Ward versus MPJ. Washington State has severely fallen off since like the middle of the season, but it could be interesting. Could be pretty interesting. And I hope they're not barking because the plumber just pulled up. I will be a little livid at that because I've gotten through this and I quite like this. I could just pause it. Whatever. Let's keep going. Keep moving. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Oregon State going to Oregon. And I might speed this up just so I don't get caught. Oregon State going to Oregon could be very, very interesting. Oregon State. Oregon is one of the most complete teams in the country. Oregon State is not as complete, but is pretty good. They have a good offense, great defense, holding the Washington offense to a Washington's been pretty shaky, but an explosive Washington offense to not that many points last week. Of course, you got the Heisman candidate Bo Nix seeing what he can do against an in-state rival. I have Oregon winning this 35-23, but I expect this to be a very fun, maybe down to the wire game, even though I have Oregon winning by 2 possessions. We'll talk about Ohio State, Michigan after, since that's pretty much the game of the week. We have Florida State going to Florida. This could be a very interesting game just because Jordan Travis is out. And Florida is a pretty good football team. I'm going to sell this dog to a Chinese restaurant. I swear to God. That's okay. I said it. Jordan Travis is out. I'm so sorry about the barking. I feel really bad. I feel really bad about the barking. And that's a whole nother rant. But Florida State going to Gainesville to face Florida. In the swamp, it's very hard to win in the swamp. It's very, very hard to win in the swamp. Jordan Travis is out, and Florida can score a lot of points. Florida has 3 straight games of scoring at least 30 on SEC defenses, if that makes any difference. Low-key, high-key upset alert. Low-key, high-key upset alert. I'm putting it on upset alert. I still have Florida State winning this 35-33, maybe. Somewhere close to that. I think that this is, again, a low-key, high-key upset. Yeah. Next we got, we'll talk about Vanderbilt and Tennessee. There's only one thing I got to say about Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Please don't lose to Vanderbilt. Rocky Top. Please don't lose to Vanderbilt. Please. I gotta hit that. Please don't lose to Vanderbilt. There's a chance they lose to Vanderbilt. Talking with my grandfather yesterday. I was like, do you think Vanderbilt has any shot at Tennessee? And he was like, no shot. And I was like, Joe Milton starts throwing picks. That defense gets a little tired. Vanderbilt should not beat Tennessee. But I have a bad feeling, brother. I got a bad feeling. Next, we got the Iron Bowl. Alabama going to Auburn. A little cross the border matchup right here. I'm only really mentioning it because it's the Iron Bowl, and you kind of have to mention the Iron Bowl. Alabama should win this. Auburn has not been a good team at all this season. Alabama should win this. They're getting better every week. Jalen Monroe is getting better every week. They still have an Alabama defense. Alabama should win this in the realm of like 40-13. They should, but it's the Iron Bowl. And Auburn loves to murder Alabama's hopes and dreams. I hope that happens, but right now I have Alabama winning 40-13. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between, it's the moment you have been waiting for. Gotta turn on my radio voice. In this corner, we got Ohio State going to Michigan. I thought it was at the Horseshoe. Is it not? Is it really in Ann Arbor? Hold on. Hold on. I gotta fact check that. I know I wrote Ohio State at Michigan, but I thought they played at the Horseshoe last season. Like I said, my computer's a little slow, so maybe you'll be entertained with my dog not wanting to shut up. I don't know why I talk about him like that. I love that dog to death, and I will slaughter anybody who touches him in the wrong way. You want to pet him? Fine. He loves being pet. He's a little attention whore. But if you like smack him, I'm saying. Okay, it is saying it is. It is in a. Okay. Okay. I was right. 2 times I kind of doubted myself, and I was just proven to be right. Ohio State going to Ann Arbor. Very rough for them, but Jim Harbaugh is not going to be on the sideline. And Michigan looked kind of shaky against Maryland last weekend without Jim Harbaugh. Ohio State plays very good defense. Ohio State's defense is a very, very good defense and just an okay offense. And this is really the matchup I want to see. I want to see J.J. McCarthy versus that Ohio State defense. But what I really want to see is how well can Michigan run the ball. They don't have some prolific run offense. They're 49th in the country in run offense, I believe. However, their bread and butter is still that Blake Corum rushing attack. Especially, I know last weekend, I believe J.J. McCarthy is still nursing a little bit of an injury. That's why they ran the ball in the second half pretty much every play last weekend against Maryland. So Ohio State's defense versus that Michigan offense is going to be very, very impressive. And Michigan has arguably the best defense in the country next to Penn State. And I think the question is, can they get turnovers? Can they get Kyle McCord to make some mistakes? Can they lock up Marvin Harrison? I'm going back and forth, lads. I'm going back and forth. But here's why I think Michigan wins. I think Michigan plays good enough offense to let their defense rattle Kyle McCord. Force him to make some mistakes. And this is, by the way, no. Force Kyle McCord to make some mistakes. It was nothing bad. I dropped my ring, and I swear to God, every podcast now, I drop my ring when I'm messing with it. Force Kyle McCord to do some mistakes. The defense is going to play very well, and the Michigan offense will do just enough. I got Michigan winning this 23-16. 23-16, low-scoring game, very heavy defensive game. And that's the show. 23 minutes of show. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I promise I'm going to have a more polished and good podcast coming up starting next week. I'm working a lot, and this plumbing situation is stressing me out. Rent is going up. A lot of things in my life that have my head in several different directions. So, but I really want to make this work. Have a little bit of an announcement coming at the end of the month or the beginning of the month that I'm very excited about. And that's it. Follow me on Twitter at jjester615. Follow the podcast Twitter at Jackie's Show. Follow the TikTok JackieBoySports. Daily content, daily takes. Try to post 3, 4, 5 videos a day on there. God damn! Try to post 3, 4, 5 videos a day on there. Email me questions, comments, concerns, whatever you want to do. Old JackieBoy1021 at gmail.com. That is OLE JackieBoy1021 at gmail.com. And as always, like, rate, and share the show. I very much apologize about the dogs. I apologize for how the podcast sounds. I apologize the video's not great. I'm trying, and I'm getting better. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday. Make sure get some of those deals, and on Cyber Monday get some more of those deals. And I will see y'all on Monday. Enjoy the weekend. Peace, love, and pixie.